story goes is really important. But what it all comes down to is what we talk and just hammer on over and over and over and over again. You got to know the people that you're training inside and out. You got to know where they are. The specific tactics, the specific lead generation methods you use are so irrelevant when you compare them to how much understanding you have and how much you can speak the language of the people that you're working with. And that's the part that is missed.
This is the Online Trainer Show, Trainer Show, Trainer Show. This is the Online Trainer Show. We shouldn't have a podcast.
Are you a grumpy old Jewish man today, Jonathan? Is that what's going on?
They made the coffee too hot. So I haven't been able to drink any of it yet. So
That's your complaint of today.
So it's going to be like, life's hard. So it's going to be like 20 minutes until the coffee cools down a little bit. I'm letting it cool off, but I figure it'll be a bit of time before I have the coffee inside me, in my veins, in my bloodstream. And then I can think thoughts that make sense.
Just interrupt Jonathan Ketto. He's
yes,
talking
I
nonsense.
will. Because, okay, so legit question. Did I totally miss out on our debrief podcast meeting on Friday?
Yes. We were all there.
We actually made bets about 5 minutes in as to whether or not you would show up, and if so,
I forgot.
how late would you be?
I just noticed today. Like today, I'm like, oh, I saw my email and there's like the updated like meeting invitation by Amber. I'm like, oh crap! I think I forgot.
Ketto,
if it's any consolation, I bet that you would not show up.
So you knew me.
Amber thought that you'd be another 10 minutes.
Thank you, Amber, for thinking. I mean, wrongly thinking that about me. I completely forgot.
Be less optimistic next time.
In your defense, Ketto, you did think that their debrief meeting was the previous week.
That's right.
Yeah, had us all free. Is our debrief today? Is it today? Is it no, it's not.
Yeah,
so
that's right. Thank you.
There's consistency there, and
yes.
in
just getting it wrong.
Yeah, and just you were all the way wrong. Especially like you weren't close to being right. Can I tell you guys about something that's particularly exciting in the context of my life? This may not resonate with everybody, but you know, like every network has a plus now, right? You got your Disney Plus, and you got the CBS had an all access. It's now Paramount Plus for those keeping score. It's right. It's either got to be maxed or you got to plus it. Like this is where television's headed.
I didn't tell you. I met the guy here on the beach and spoke to him about it. The guy who was responsible for the Fresh Prince reunion on HBO Max.
Oh, really? Is that the does he work for Westbrook?
He works for HBO Max. He's
HBO Max. Okay,
basically in charge of like the content schedule and stuff like that. So he was talking to me about. Yeah, it was cool. He was talking to me about like how it came about, and you know the reunion with Aunt Viv, how like the original Aunt Viv came back.
Original Aunt
He's
Viv,
like, yeah, Will didn't want to do that at the beginning. He's like, but he was happy he did. But like that was us like pushing him. They're like, yo, if we do this is TV gold.
Yeah, and it was TV.
Yeah,
I don't know if you saw that. Anyway, Jonathan, you got me distracted now because I like the Fresh Prince.
I thought you'd be interested. Have you seen Coming to America 2 yet?
I've seen it.
Stop it. Let him finish his story. I want to hear it.
I've seen Coming to America too. I've got.
It was good.
It was pretty good. It was pretty. I got some questions about the lead actor, but we'll circle back around to that.
We'll get to
in
it.
any case, did you guys know that The Love Boat was a Paramount production? So all 9 seasons of The Love Boat are on Paramount Plus. Now, if I don't know if there's a better reason for you folks listening to run out and subscribe to Paramount Plus like immediately. I would actually turn off this podcast. It's going to be a waste of your time. I can tell you from the topic. You're not going to want to listen to this. You know, use that phone for something productive. Go download Paramount Plus, and you've got 9 complete seasons of the Love Boat. I saw the first episode. It was riveting. So the first episode had Jimmy Walker, better known as JJ from Good Times. It also had a young Meredith Baxter Burney, who was the mother from Family Ties, the show that Michael J. Fox got discovered on as Alex P. Keaton. Oh, and it had a young Suzanne Summers, who our listeners will know as the Thigh Master inventor. On the episode, and it was riveting. It was a tremendous episode. I'm looking forward to the next. I've only watched one episode because I only discovered it last night. But I almost didn't show up to the podcast today so I could watch the next set of episodes on Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus, you guys are doing it right. Shout out to you. Well done. You know what the Love Boat was? The Love Boat was what B-list reality TV stars do now. Like you get a Ken Jeong on the Masked Singer. Who's the Jenny McCarthy? On a panel, a Paula Abdul on American Idol, something like that. Like all those B-list. There wasn't a venue for that there was no reality TV judges in the 80s. You went on the Love Boat. Charlie's age to go off air. All these people showed up on the Love Boat, and that's why I love it. You see all your favorite 80s stars in their prime, Jonathan, in their youth on the Love Boat, and it was just I felt completed by that.
Literally not a person listening to this is able to follow any as our listeners might recall, this is what happened on episode 27 on the Love Boat.
Jonathan, you're so wrong about this because I get a constant stream of commentary about how pleased people are when I bring up these nostalgic items. There are Generation Xers in the online community, Jonathan, and I'm here for them, not you zennials. What do you call them now? It's something different every month. Okay, whatever. It'll be something different next week. You kooky kids, get off my lawn, by the way. But that's the importance of having me affixed, to the show.
Off your lawn?
No, they never get off your lawn, Jonathan. That's
well,
the
you
importance.
told me you cut a switch.
But they don't leave. That's what the kids do. You should know, Zillennial.
But when you cut a switch, it's not enough to cut it. You got to hit them with the switch.
Well, here's the thing, and this is going to be to the horror of all the millennials listening. The psychology of switches is that you send the child to select their own switch. That's where the psychology really pays off. So if they don't bring an appropriate switch back, they get another switch. Now they're in double trouble. Now you get a spanking. Well, it's not a spanking. Now you get a spanking, but not only because of the original offense, but secondary spanking because the switch selection was not up to par. And that's how they scared every Generation X child in the South for the entirety of our upbringing. It was so you don't know the trauma of walking through your yard to find the appropriate bush to get a switch that is going to be used in your own punishment, knowing that if it doesn't hurt you enough, you're only increasing the amount of time that you're going to feel the horror of that switch. This is evil.
Let me just say, as a middle-class Jewish Canadian, I know completely what you're talking about and can connect 100% here on what you're saying.
So what is it? What does it reference as? Is it called a switch in the middle class Jewish Canadian community? Is it still referred to as a switch? Is there a special name?
No, no, it's not. We don't really have a name for it. It doesn't.
Oh, we just go get it.
It was a pretty pampered upbringing.
All right.
We have La Chancla.
La Chancla.
Yes, that's.
Is that a slipper?
Yes, it's a slipper. It's a flip flop, a sandal, whatever it is that mom can kind of like kick up in the air and catch, and then like quickly like throw at you.
Mexican women hit you with their shoe.
Yes.
Yeah, see, I knew that.
Oh man, this is a podcast full of bad kids.
Abused kids, essentially.
Abused bad kids. It's a wonder we turned out as psychologically balanced as we did. If indeed we did. And I'm not saying that we have. Amber's riveted by this conversation, by the way.
She's taking notes. She's like the switch, la chancla.
Rent. And then my stepdad grew up the way Carolina did. He's Puerto Rican. And so so it's actually pretty funny.
Amber got both sides of it. Oh my gosh. A clash of cultural beatings. Oh my God.
A clash of cultural meetings. That's right.
That explains a lot. So what are we talking about today anyway? You know, I sent like 85 topics, all rejected. That's why I don't answer anymore. I'm not answering next time.
I didn't even see, so I don't know.
Well, Keto, you know.
No, you had the topic because I didn't get here until 2 minutes before we recorded. I was just reading a book this morning, and then Carolina clearly didn't respond.
Is that what your assistant put on your to-do list for today, John?
No, she had stuff on my to-do list, and I actually responded back, and I said, no, I'm going to read a book this morning. And then I told her to book off tomorrow because I'm going to read a book.
Oh, man.
So he basically pulled up, that's going to be a no for me, dog.
Not even joking.
Just said no.
I'm going to take tomorrow offline. Please don't book anything there for me.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, you're nothing if not efficient, sir. I respect that level of efficiency.
Best lead generation method. That is our topic for today.
That's what we're talking about. We're talking about generating leads. You guys like leads, right? The people at home, you like leads. You know, it helps you with business stuff.
What's a lead?
A lead is a contact with a person who may become a client at some point. It gives you an opportunity to present your wares, Jonathan. Present whatever you have to offer and engage in lively and informative conversation with another human under the assumption that they may become a client who patronizes your business. That's what a lead is.
That certainly sounds like something I'd be interested in.
Yeah, Keto's got a point. She doesn't have her little request to speak card. There you go.
Oh, the episode today went live when you brought that out for the first time.
Oh, yeah. Did it?
And it's funny because all that happens is just out of nowhere. Owen is going on about something. I don't know. Nobody's listening. And then all of a sudden, everybody just starts laughing super hard. And like, as a listener, if you have no context, you have no clue what's going on. You're not. No, the episode, and then we explain it, of course, but the episode today that went live uses a tremendous amount of visual props.
Yes, I remember that we were all like pulling up things on screen, and it's like, it's a podcast. We need to remember it's a podcast. But anyway, I want first, before we go into lead generation, I think it's important that Jonathan tells us what happened with the PTDC Instagram account.
Yes. Oh, yes. There's a story here.
This actually ties. Well, we don't actually know what happened, but okay. I guess what I'm trying to get at is like, what's your lead generation strategy going to look like if all your social media accounts were gone overnight?
Right.
Right. So I'll say what happened because I guess that kind of goes in line with what we're talking about. Yeah. So the PTDC Instagram account, which we had about 75,000 followers on it, just got disabled out of nowhere. No warning. No message from Instagram. Nothing. Just one day. It was just said the account's unavailable, and then it's been gone. It's now Tuesday. It's been offline since Friday. We've got appeals in, and they're basically asking us to verify our identity like every which way and send in official documents before they can talk to us. So we may never get it back. We will hopefully get it back. But the interesting thing is, you know, aside from messages from people that I've gotten basically saying, hey, where did it go? It really won't affect us in any meaningful way. Like if we never get it back and we have to start from scratch, don't get me wrong, like yeah, it hurts. I mean, obviously, it's not a small account, but it's actually pretty insignificant to what we do. And we joke about how it's like not that good of an account anyway. So maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing to start over. But though, I guess the point is, and the point that Carolina's getting to here is like, look, if you build a business that depends solely on a platform that you have no control over, you might just get screwed one day. Like think about it this way: if I didn't have a website, if I didn't have community, if I didn't have books that were in people's hands, anything like that, my entire business, like a lot of people's businesses, is just on Instagram. Like, you don't need a website these days. You don't need this. You don't need that. You don't need that. It's like, well, I agree. You don't necessarily until Instagram gets disabled without warning one day. And then all of a sudden, you literally have zero business overnight.
Yeah.
That is not, like, I slept fine the last couple nights, even though Instagram was gone, right? You just don't want to put yourself in a position like that. So no matter what, I mean, there's this conversation over basically owned versus rented platforms. And it's like, oh, yeah, that's why you have to get emails because you own emails. It's like, yeah, you do, but you don't own the email servers that the emails get delivered to. Like, you don't own Gmail, you don't own Hotmail, you don't own whatever. And anybody who does email marketing knows that those are getting finicky in and of themselves. So, like, it's still, I would still consider email to be more or less a rented platform. Like, you actually have little to no control over email deliverability. You have some control over email deliverability, but, like, not a lot. And it could also be taken away. One day your emails start going to spam. Why? Who the hell knows? One day your Instagram account gets disabled. Why? Who the hell knows? Nobody sent you a warning message, right? And so the question is, what do you do? And it's the same thing you always should have done. It's you need to build a reputation that precedes you. You need to own mind share. That is the asset that you have to have. The reason why I'm not, and it's relationships. Right. The reason why I'm not at all concerned about Instagram going away is like, I'm confident that we can build it up again, probably better than it already was because it really wasn't a very good account. The other reason is, like, I've got now hundreds of thousands of books in people's hands that get passed along. I've done the hard work for many, many years to build a reputation that people recommend me, right? And we have a number of relationships. For example, this episode is going to go live in 2 weeks, so I can talk about it because it'll be live by then. ACE, the certifying body, we've have a relationship with them where they're reselling the Online Trainer Academy.
Right.
And so that will be basically like their online business offering is reselling the Online Trainer Academy. So it's not going to be an ACE course, but they'll be selling it and then sending people to us. When you have the second biggest certifying body in the world reselling your program for you, leads that you are generating matter much less. Well, how does that happen?
Right.
Well, you do a really good job for a lot of years and build a really good reputation for a lot of years. And so, all of these things I say because they're so much more important than anything that any social media platform. And it's what I've been hammering in since day one. It's reputation. It's real work.
Yep.
It's relationships. Because at the end of the day, every single thing can get taken away from you.
Yep.
Except for those. And it might. And it did from us. And we might get it back, or we might not. But the reason why I can sleep good at night, the reason why we can still pay our staff, the reason why it's not even going to be a blip when we look back at this is because I've done what I have been preaching for a lot of years. So I guess that makes sense in talking about lead gen, although it's not probably what you came here for.
No, it's totally in line. I'm really glad that this topic was chosen in the same week that you had this experience happen, because when you posted about it, when you wrote about it on Facebook and the platform that hasn't been taken away from you yet, you made like that great point of like, hey, it can all go away. And I think this is important also to as a reminder. For example, us coaches, a lot of us have groups. We have free groups where we talk to our clients. There's a lot of communication back and forth. A group can get shut down. All those leads that you have in that group, they can effectively disappear, just like an Instagram account. Because if somebody starts reporting, if somebody starts kind of, I don't know, if there's any kind of drama going on and enough people report stuff, an entire group can disappear overnight and you never recover it, because once it's gone, it's gone. So I guess.
And even if it doesn't disappear, reach within that group may go kaput as well, which is pretty much the same. Like we spent the longest amount of time building up a big Facebook page for the PTDC, 230,000 people. We were getting 20, 30, 40% reach on posts, right? We were getting millions of viewers a year to our website from Facebook. Well, one day, Facebook says, I don't think this is going to fly anymore.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know, man.
And they changed it.
Yeah, nothing. Now you only reach a small family in Texas.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's ridiculous.
It's the extent of your viewership.
And so, the same thing happened, right? Like, why do I preach these things so much? It's because I've been through cycles of them. Yeah. We went from getting easy 3 million hits a year on Facebook to like 50,000, literally.
Wow.
And our revenue and profit went up.
Interesting.
Why? Because we focused on high quality content. We focused on relationships. We focused on real work in the real world. Yes, we used a platform to drive some traffic to it, but at the end of the day, what we were doing that entire time was building real stuff. We weren't building vanity on that platform. We were just leveraging that platform at that time. So who cares if it's gone?
Yeah, I think this is a good kind of like, and Ren, you might be with me on this one, because you had kind of like a more like a sales oriented type of work before social media was ever a thing. So do you remember what you used to do? Okay, so here's the backstory for me. You guys don't know this, but before I came to Canada for years, like back in Mexico, I was I started in sales in Mary Kay Cosmetics, and I ended up being a sales director for yes. No. So my background is 100% on sales, totally. Back when.
How did we not know this?
I'm full of surprises, man. What can I say?
Did you win the pink burro?
Yeah, what is it? A pink Cadillac or something?
What did they give in Mexico?
Yeah, and instead of crowns, we get like sombreros, but they're like blinged out, and
you get Ciervo horns.
It's the most culturally insensitive swing to a conversation I've ever promoted. It's just horrible. I'm sorry for that. I apologize. But it was just right there, and I couldn't not say it.
I get you. It's fine. No, so I actually moved to Canada before I had a chance to qualify for the car. I had very recently become a sales director when the time came for me to move here. Nice. And back then you could not transfer your unit into another country. I don't know how it works now. But back then it was one of those, I had been working at this for years and I had an entire network of people behind me. And then it's like, oh, but I'm moving to Canada and you have to leave all of that behind. And I was like, done, let's go. It's fine. No brainer. And I did it. And you start over in other things. Like for me, it was fitness and it's been totally fine. But anyway, yeah. So my background was also very much on sales before social media was ever social media.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. And to your credit, Keto, it was all about relationships. It's all about your ability to build relationships, right? And you know, the insurance organization that I worked for was essentially a recruiting company that's offered insurance. So similar thing, right? I lost my my office, your upline, as they say, and your downline. I lost my downline more than one time, moving to different offices where I could not transfer the agents that worked under me, the sales agents that worked under me, and you rebuild it, And I think that's sort of what Jonathan's, talking about, in terms of building relationships. Once you've done it, you're much less dependent on any particular thing to keep your business afloat, because if you do it once the right way, not buying 75,000 followers, if you do it once the right way, it's much simpler to do it again. It's literally, a half or a third of the time that it took you the first time.
Can I admit something?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever stated this publicly. Back in 2011,
it's too much. There's too much revelation here. I'm
way back when I did buy, I think it was 2,000 followers on Facebook.
Did you?
Or 2,000 likes. I did.
Wow.
And then, but it was the hardest thing on the ego ever, because I bought them and then I just made up a story that I didn't. That was just the number of people following, and then of course Facebook always just came along and deleted them. So all of a sudden I see the numbers go back down in the account.
Womp womp womp.
I know. But I did fall into that trap of
Thank you for admitting that, because now you already seem more human.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
That was what I was going for. I need to humanize myself.
What were you saying?
All those pictures of the Lamborghini.
Amber, we can't hear you. Your voice is super, super low.
Amber's like, she's not interested enough to repeat herself.
No.
I was like, just no. I don't. I used up all my energy with words earlier. I'm done for the day. Well, in Amber's defense, she's doing a lot recently. God, she's only thank you for what you do, Amber. Let me give you your flowers, as they say, while you're here, because we appreciate your tireless dedication and willingness to communicate with Jonathan multiple times a day. Most of us here only have to do it once, and that's only twice per week.
And
but
it's already exhausting.
It's exhausting. It's exhausting. You're in constant contact with Jonathan,
You told me, Amber, that I made you cry yesterday on a team call.
Oh my God.
And he's back to being a jerk.
Yes, you have on a couple occasions.
Oh my gosh. Poor Amber. And Jonathan's like, what is this liquid coming from your eyes?
No, I didn't know. She did it. Thankfully, she did it after we had finished speaking.
Okay. Well, that's better. If you guys do, Amber, you are super busy, and we're super thankful for everything that you do, of course. But everybody listening, if you do want to speak to Amber, it's amber@theptdc.com. Anything you want to say, just send a message. Say hi. She's got time. Speaking of time, OTA has been helping trainers and nutrition coaches build thriving online businesses since 2013. That's a long time. Let us take the guesswork out for you. Onlinetrainer.com/OTA. We'd love to have you. We've got a big launch coming up in April, so we're on hold a little bit at the moment. But I'm sure there's still a list right now that you can get on or something in that effect.
By the time this goes live, that'll be
that's
done.
right. That's right. So we're 2 weeks into it. The list already happened. Just come in and join. Go to the website today now.
There's no list.
Yeah, there's no list. Jump in now. So
if you don't want to guess, and I don't think you like guessing. Ain't nobody likes guessing. There's no guessing involved.
I guess people don't like guessing. If I had to guess,
no guessing.
I guess that guessing's not a good
guess. I guess there's no guessing.
No guessing. So if you've tuned into the podcast today, we've had just a series of shocking revelations in our telenovela here.
We have not gotten to the topic yet, though. Should we do that in the last?
We got 5 minutes. We got 5 minutes. Let's go for 5 minutes more and spend the last 2 minutes on topic.
Right. Amber, what are we talking about?
Pest lead generation methods.
Okay, what were the examples again?
Oh my God. Ethical bribe, email newsletters, Facebook groups, and I know there are more, but those are the top 3 I've mentioned.
Ethical bribes, email newsletters, and Facebook groups. Okay, what's the best one?
I don't know that there's any
I don't know
best
if there's
one,
a
Jonathan.
best one. I think
Best,
it'll
we'll
just
say
different.
best for you, Jonathan.
I can speak to the Facebook group ones because that's what totally launched me into the stratosphere a couple of years ago.
Kiddo.
So, okay.
Yeah, do that. You didn't put up a request to speak sign, so I'm not quite sure if I want to.
My bad. Yeah, how unofficial of me. How unofficial. There it is.
If this were the town hall meeting of small obscure towns outside of bigger towns, you would not accept.
I'm just gonna. I've got to
right.
say, Keto, your parliamentary procedure is trash. Straight trash.
I'm sorry.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked that you cohabitate with the mayor, and this is the level of parliamentary procedure that you just played in front of people.
That was the best insult I've heard in life.
Let's get that on the quote card. Your parliamentary procedure is trash.
Parliamentary procedure is just garbage.
It's trash. But by all means, continue, Keto. Now that you've been teed up.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. All right. So Facebook groups as lead generation strategy. So I still get people who message me and ask me about this thing that I did that I did some years ago, because that story has been told in a number of ways, in a number of platforms. JB, Dr. John Berardi, wrote about it in his book, Change Makers. He uses me as one of the examples. Jonathan has used it in the PTDC. So basically what I did is that some years ago, I found this group that is legitimately a group where I belong, because it's a group meant for Mexican women living abroad. So I joined this group, and it was awesome because we're all sharing the pains of being Mexican, but now living somewhere else. And it's from the funny stuff, from like, oh my God, the garbage trucks here don't ring a bell when they're coming down the street. So how do people in this city know when the garbage truck is coming? Like, just like the ridiculous cultural differences that we all face.
All the time. You know how it is. I figured it out. When the garbage truck comes, there's 3 guys in the garbage truck. One is driving the truck, one jumps out to get the garbage on the side of the road, and one runs ahead to tell the houses up ahead to bring out the garbage.
There you go. So yeah, if you don't have a bell, that's how you do it. Some people may have like just schedules in their city, but in Mexico, we don't follow schedule. Like what? Anyway. So just from funny stuff like that and sharing experiences to asking questions about how do you find ingredients for cooking, like all the stuff relevant to us. So it's very much a place where I belonged and where I was able to start chiming into different conversations and sharing points of views. So it was an actual connection-driven place, which is essential for if you're going to ever use it as a generation lead. So in the first few months of me being part of this group, it was me contributing to other people's posts, answering questions, offering support, offering a laugh when something funny happened. It was just friendship being created. And then one day, as part of the dynamic in this group, women would write about their own story, how they ended up in the country where they're living now, all this telenovela-like stories of like falling in love or getting the job of your dreams and being transferred around the world. It's wonderful. So then one day I'm like, I guess it's my turn. So I did this little write-up of like, so this is how I came to Canada, and now this is what I do for work. And I very casually and as part of the conversation mentioned, I'm a fitness professional. This is some of the people that I've helped. My most important client kind of like feedback up until this point is this mom who I was able to, she had a very difficult delivery, and her doctor credited her excellent physical condition to the fact that she essentially was able to be revived because she flatlined. And like all this, like it's super emotional, super charged, and the response went through the freaking roof. It was like hundreds of comments, hundreds of like people messaging me like, oh my God, and this is so cool and so inspiring. And so then I'm like, hey guys, if you want to learn more, drop me your email, because I'm doing this little webinar thing. This is something that I pulled out of my sleeve. I had no plan of doing no webinar of nothing. I had no idea. But I was like, hey, I'm putting this together for us who have this thing in common, right? And so the hundreds and I don't even remember the numbers. It was like hundreds.
It was over 800 because you messaged me frantically trying to figure out how the heck.
That's right. Because I was like, what do I do now? I was like, ah! I was like that meme of the cat on the keyboard, like going like this, like smashing the keyboard.
There's no good way to collect 800 emails.
None.
Comments. It was like copy paste into an Excel spreadsheet, legit for hours and hours. But it was totally worth it, because then what I did do is I did create, like in a day or two, a webinar that I launched for them. I made it paid. I made like, I don't know, like $1,500 out of a freaking webinar that I was charging like $5 or $7 for, just as a symbolic price. Like, so immediately it made me money. And then after that, a lot of those people who gave me their emails became my clients. And some of them did an entire year of coaching with me. Some of them more. Some of them are back now after not seeing me for a couple of years. Like, it's the gift that keeps on giving. To this day, I am still reaping rewards from that initial post.
So what do we learn from that very instructive story, which is a fantastic story, which I think is a perfect story, is there's actually no best lead generation place or method, but there is a best lead generation strategy, which is, who are you?
Right.
What is your story? We have another episode about, like, what if you are not your client? Like, in your case, Carolina, you are your target client, right? So, like, that's cool. In Ren's case, he's not his target client. So, we did he wrote an article on the PTDC about it, and we'll link that, I guess, in the show notes, Amber. But there's another episode about what to do if you're not your target client, too. And I think that was article of the week, was it not, Ren?
It was.
It was a great article.
I got a report that Ace is going to pick up the article as well from the PTDC. They want to include it in their syndicated articles. So that's awesome.
Wow.
Oh, very cool. I didn't know about that.
Yes, it's very nice.
Which is what happens when you do good work, right?
Right.
It gets picked up.
I'm a lunatic.
Places.
I mean, self-described. Absolutely. I should not be doing this well. Yeah, I should not be doing this well in this business.
Well, no, you should. You should, because you operate.
Marginal.
It's questionable. No, you do everything the right way, right? You push the envelope in certain ways that are fun, that are engaging, but you're outwardly supportive, and you do everything.
I guess so. Is that my theme music? I didn't know I was going to have theme music too. Oh, okay.
The best part about what's going on behind me, if you can hear it with this Mexican music, is like, this is not tourist crap. Like, this is legitimately what is listened to by the locals.
It's just Tuesday.
And it's incredible. Like, Allison and I, we had a friend in town, so we went out for dinner, so Calvin was looked after, and we were walking along the beach just to dinner last night, and there were two different roaming mariachi bands on the beach. And this is not like a resort where, there's a guy with a guitar, a mariachi band, like, playing for all the gringos. This is like, no, all the Mexicans are, like, requesting songs and paying the mariachi bands for playing the songs and singing along with them. And I mean, this is like 8 different mariachis, like, playing different instruments. It's amazing.
I love it.
It's fantastic. So the best, what Carolina demonstrated is that the best lead generation is to understand who. When you got to stop moving your body like that.
Sorry, man. I can't help it. The music's just in me, brother. I can't stop. I got happy feet.
That made me question my sexuality.
because I was so alluring, right?
100%. I was like, I thought for the first 35 years of my life I was straight. That's how you move like that.
Muy inteligente y guapo también. Got the brains and the look. I mean, I can't help it, man. This stuff just comes out of me. I'm sorry. Please continue, Jonathan. I didn't mean to distract you with my overt sexuality. We're off the rails here.
Oh gosh.
It was only a matter of time. But Jonathan, as
the point
Right.
The point is, let me finish the thought really quick, and I'm not
Okay.
even going to look because I don't want to look at what you're doing.
I'm not doing anything.
The point, I guess, is that, as demonstrated by Carolina perfectly, is all of these things work. What probably won't work is trying to do all of them. So if you do decide to do email marketing, be a really, really good email marketer. That's what we do, right, at the PTDC. We do very little with social media. I mean, social media is basically put on autopilot for us. We do very little with it. We do a lot with, obviously, content on the blog, and then email marketing, which is an extension of that. So, like, if that's the game you want to play, that's great, because there's a lot more stability long-term for that. There's a lot more growth long-term for that. But there's a lot less instant hit with that. If you want to do like a conversion from social media to your own Facebook group, it's great. You just got to know that, like, then you got to run a good Facebook group. If you want to go into other Facebook groups, you do what Carolina did, right? Where you go into Facebook groups that are not necessarily fitness, but of people that are joined together via some sort of common purpose, some sort of common meaning, whatever it is. Participate, become an important part of the group, and basically wait for an opportunity to be able to tell your story, which inevitably is going to turn into some sort of a pitch for people that are interested. And that's where learning how to tell your story is really important. But what it all comes down to is what we talk and just hammer on over and over and over and over again. You got to know the people that you're training inside and out. You got to know where they are. The specific tactics, the specific lead generation methods you use are so irrelevant when you compare them to how much understanding you have and how much you can speak the language of the people that you're working with. And that's the part that is missed so often. Carolina literally wrote one post in one Facebook group and got 800 leads, made $1,500 from a paid webinar, and filled her clientele for years with one post in one Facebook group. Think about that for a second. How do you want to run a business? Do you want to be searching for that one post, right? Or do you want to be posting to the abyss for years, begging people to listen to you? It's that different. It's that different. And it doesn't actually have that much to do with quality. I mean, I couldn't read it. I mean, I've seen the post that Carolina made, but it's in Spanish. So, like, I can translate it, so I know what it says, but the translation loses something. So I can't actually tell how well she told her story. I imagine she told it well, but, like, it was something she wrote ad hoc. This was not like this beautifully crafted narrative, you know? It was just the right thing in the right place at the right time. Yeah. That's what matters. That's what matters with lead gen.
Absolutely. A couple of things that I hope the audience takes away from this episode, for those that are still here. Number one is, like, some things can't be forced. Some of these lead generation methodologies require a little bit of timing and patience. Some of them are sort of very overt and actionable, right? Like, you can be very actionable with an ethical bribe. You put up a post, you include your call to action. Here's the ethical bribe. Go for it. You can be really actionable, sort of overt with email marketing, right? If you have the email leads, you can pretty much send what you want to send. In terms of building relationships, it's more of a natural evolution of interacting with people in an authentic way, hopefully a good authentic way over time, and especially in the context of the groups. Because what we see in our groups is people trying to sort of force their way into a group. It's kind of forcing yourself on people. Will I answer the question and nobody bought $6,000 worth of training from me that day? It kind of sort of doesn't work that way. Carol, from what I'm understanding, interacted with the people in a normal, natural way. Participated. She got herself immersed in the community first. And when the opportunity presented itself, she took the opportunity to explain sort of her story and how that works. I want to caution people listening against going into 16 groups today and telling your story, and then saying that I'm going to do a webinar and then coming back and saying it didn't work. That's kind of not what we're saying. There's a time and place for specifically marketing, and then there's a time and a place for branding, allowing things to happen in a natural way, and so that when your opportunity presents itself, you're ready to take advantage of the opportunity. I think that's important to note. Everything's not a conversion. And if you try to turn everything into a conversion, you're probably going to get frustrated and say it doesn't work when what you need is spring a little time on it.
Yes.
Season it with a little time. And I don't have any further thoughts about that. I'm just sad that the music's gone. I was hoping to jam out.
Oh, it's still going. I mute myself because there's animals and people and loud cars. And
my closing statement for this whole episode would be, it's like a plant. Water the freaking plant. You're not going to get the fruit. You're not going to get the benefits overnight. Water the freaking plant. Yeah. Fertilize it, care for it, make sure it's got the right sunlight, do a little bit first so that then over time you will reap. Absolutely.
Fruit. Oh, that's well put.
So then when those snap peas start coming out, you're like, yo.
Yeah, I earned those. Those are mine.
I'm gonna make a salad with these snap peas. Doesn't matter if you like snap peas or not, because I got these damn snap peas because I've been watering this damn plant.
I don't want any snap peas. Quite frankly, I don't like the way you're talking about snap peas here. You know what?
You know what, Len? Your parliamentary procedures are garbage. Take that, you snap peas.
Oh man, I don't care to converse any further this afternoon. The Online Trainer Show, we did something today. You're welcome.
Amber is just like, why? Why am I here? Why do we?
Something happened here today. Our episode today, some of it stunk so bad that Amber sat outside the entire episode. That's how bad we were today.
Should we start recording though, guys? My coffee's cool now.
Jonathan, the show's over, Jonathan.
The show's over?
We've already recorded.
This is the Online Trainer Show. Trainer Show. Trainer Show. This is the Online Trainer Show. We shouldn't have a podcast.